Good evening, Mr. Clamola. Happy March Madness.
Woo! It's the most wonderful time of the year. I love it.
It's my favorite. Like, we're getting ready to jump in now to my favorite. What is it? How many? 96 hours? Is that 4 days?
Yep.
Starting at 11:10, I think is what time the first game happens tomorrow, and it's literally just basketball all day. And of course, like, I just look up and I'm like, oh, and we have a county meeting scheduled at 5 o'clock tomorrow. And of course, Kentucky plays at 6. And I'm looking at the agenda, and of course they throw in here, and Leroy, you'll know what this means. Our listeners won't, but we talk about our job here. There's an executive session. And as you know, those can take 2 minutes or those can take 2 hours. But luckily, our judge executive is a diehard Kentucky fan. So my assumption is that that is going to set a world record for quickest.
If the Vikings played the Packers at noon, our pastor would be like, well, I got to hurry up with this sermon because the Vikings play Green Bay at noon and we got to get going. Let's go. So I get it completely. Yeah. Well, it's ag week, so we've been dealing with all kinds of ag stuff, and I got stuff going on tomorrow morning with that. But we've got a pretty busy day tomorrow as well. So I just know it's gonna be one of those things where normally it's we have a work holiday, so we're still at work, but we get to bring snacks into the break room, and they got a TV in there, and we get to. It's the one, like the 2 days out of the year that we get to go relax while we're at work to watch basketball, especially because I think the Illini play at like 2:00 in the afternoon or something. So that's gonna be a, and I like it because I get out doing news in the afternoon. So that
are you a whatchamacallit? An affiliate of Illinois?
Yes.
So you don't have to because of Illinois basketball.
Well, I think they have some kind of CBS affiliation as well, so we run like a lot of those games as well. But yeah, I don't remember what we do carry Illini basketball, but and we carry the coaches show and we do all that stuff as well. So,
tell you what, I watched Illinois, one of the first games I really got to watch on Sunday. Watch them play Wisconsin. I was impressed. We're going to talk about our brackets here in a few minutes, but I was impressed. There's no question about that. Coming up, though, on the show, of course, wearing a Kentucky jersey, and Leroy's got his Western jersey on. See, I'm supporting both. Is that a schmedium?
It's not. Leroy's fat. Leave me alone.
But we decided to break out our basketball jerseys here for today. But before we talk about March Madness, are we going to have the Caitlin Clark discussion every single week?
Every single week, man.
Every single week. She'd be great. She's a fantastic player. Go Cats, Megan. Before we jump into our March Madness picks and Leroy's logos and everything else that we have for you today, Leroy, your Bears are in the news because officially, Bert, nobody asked you. Officially, Justin Fields. For one, I'm upset because I had my, play clock questions planned. I was hoping to throw that in there at least 2 more times for the draft.
Before the draft.
Not anymore. No. Not anymore. Justin Fields is now.
That means Tyson Bagent is our number one. Tyson Bagent.
He is now a Pittsburgh Steeler. And I think they got like a package of ho-hos and a buy one, get one Big Mac?
Krispy Kremes.
Yeah, oh, it's a Krispy Kreme because it sure wasn't much that they got for Justin Fields.
And let's talk about this a little bit. First of all, Sam, from your outside perspective, because you don't get inundated with Chicago media like I do, what is the talk? Because I know you are an anti-them. What have you heard concerning this from your perspective?
For one, I love it. Because I'm not a Mike Williams, Justin Fields hater.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's possible to be more of a hater than him. Is it? I don't think it is to hate somebody more than Mike Williams hates Justin Fields and Skyline Chili. Like it's And one of Skyline Chili is a delicious thing. But for me, I'm just thinking like, for one, I think the Steelers should have given up more. And that's where I'm coming from there to get him. And I'm just wondering, like, what do the Steelers have on the Bears? Like, just like
I'll tell you
we'll
what
trade
I think happened.
Anything for anything.
I'll tell you what I think happened. So I think the Bears at one point had a very high price tag on Justin. Once the other trades and other moves started happening, they realized, like, oh my gosh, we have to do something or we're not going to be able to get anything for him. Now, with that being said, the only reason that we're having as big of a conversation as we are about this is because I really think that Justin Fields is a nice guy. I think Justin is a nice guy. And, because Zach Wilson gets, or Kenny Pickett gets traded, no one really bats an eye. And pretty much Zach Wilson, Kenny Pickett, and Justin Fields are all the same dude. They are. 10-28, no fourth quarter comebacks other than the game against San Francisco. Just not there. I think the Bears wanted to give Justin a chance to start, and putting him in Pittsburgh was the best opportunity that they had to do that. Look, we all know how bad Russell Wilson is. If Russell Wilson makes it this whole season long, I will send you a case of the finest beer or wine you've ever wanted in your life, Sam, because there's no way Russell Wilson makes it through this whole year starting. There's just no way. Now, does Justin Fields play all 51% to get that 4th round pick instead of that 6th round pick? I don't know. But there's no way that Russell Wilson plays all of those games. But the thing is it makes Poles look slightly weak because he's helping a friend, right? Like the charismatic side is great. You help Justin, awesome. But how does this help Chicago?
See, that's what I'm saying is I hear you making that point, and I'm just thinking, I think back to the Bengals' last combine, is there was starting to get some rumors about whether they would trade T. Higgins. And this was a year ago because all the extension stuff and so on. And Duke Tobin, who is the Bengals GM, he's the director of player personnel, but he's the GM. He had a line that I think makes a lot of sense, and it was this simple. It was, we are not in the business of making other teams better.
Yeah.
And it's the truth.
You shouldn't be. But does Justin Fields help Pittsburgh get better? And that's the question that we need to ask. And I don't know if I have an answer for that. Because I don't necessarily think he does.
But now it's this simple. Welcome to Chicago, Caleb Williams. Gotta
be. Right? There's
no I mean, you don't make this trade. You don't make this trade if you're not doing this. Welcome in, Paul. You're not making this trade if you're not picking Caleb Williams. Unless you can get the Commanders or the Patriots or some other. But I mean, you need to be in the top 3. Because the Bears need a quarterback.
Who are the only other teams that are looking for a quarterback? Minnesota? New England?
But I don't think you can trade with Minnesota because then you're dropping all the way back and then you're not getting any quarterback. And then you're getting J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
And is that Bo Nix? Is that exciting you? Michael Penix?
No.
I don't know.
Daniels is the only other real
you got Drake May
there maybe Drake May that I wouldn't, if they go heavy offensive line and trade back and get May, fine. But I really think Fields showed his hand a little bit too much on this one, and this might come back and bite him in the butt. If he plays well for Tomlin, and if he plays well in Pittsburgh, that's going to be trouble. But really, this is a cycle that Chicago has been in quite a while. And I know I'm going to ramble here a little bit, but guess what? It's my show. So
wait a second. Your show is in an hour, collective.
You're right. It's our show. So the Bears have this thing where they get the GM and they get the coach, but the quarterback's not theirs. So they draft a new quarterback, right?
In all seriousness, the Bears haven't had a quarterback since when? Have the Bears had a quarterback in your lifetime?
Jim McMahon when I was 4.
So
although
no.
I will say Jay Cutler was way better than what people give him credit for.
But still, if Jay Cutler is your best quarterback,
correct.
I mean, like you could make a genuine argument that like the Bengals have had in that same time 5 or 6 better quarterbacks, and they've both been to the same amount of Super Bowls in your lifetime.
Yep. But they have this thing where the GM and the coach don't like the quarterback that's there. So they get a new quarterback. GM coach get fired. Quarterback's still there. New GM, new head coach. Quarterback. Okay. Now the cycle repeats. Quarterback moves forward. New coach gets fired. Fox gets fired. And the whole process starts all over again. If polls, I don't know what the answer is, but they've got to stop this cycle of hiring just half of them, and then I don't have my quarterback. I don't have my guy in. Great. Who cares? Work with him and develop him. And the Bears have not developed a quarterback ever. Ever. The Bears made it to the Super Bowl in 85 and 86 based on their defense. The Bears make it to the Super Bowl against the Colts off of their defense. Something that they've done very, very well in Chicago has been their defense, but their offense has always struggled. Caleb Williams has no choice. Look, that is one of the best situations for a number 1 draft pick to come into. It's a fantastic situation for them to come in, for Caleb to come into. He's got so many weapons right off the bat. Think about the last few number 1 quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence. What did Lawrence have at wide receiver and running back? Nothing. What had, you look back at some of the previous years.
Be careful here. Who's your guy before?
Who did Joe have?
AJ Green. Yeah, and aging AJ Green, but he also was brought in with T. Higgins.
Right.
And so on. And then I guess his slot was Tyler Boyd, who was an established
Cincinnati
slot
was
receiver.
The Bengals were probably the other team that had a really good situation for a new quarterback to come into.
Really good might be strong. Might be strong.
But I'm just trying to think of quarterbacks that are coming into the league.
In all seriousness, and this is not me trying to hate, other than DJ Moore, what does he have? This is not me trying to hate.
I mean,
who's he got?
Evans, right? Evans from the Chargers, who's 34.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about it. You got 95-year-old Keenan Allen.
Yeah. And then Herbert, or not Herbert. Yeah.
Do you still have like 35 tight ends?
No, we have 3.
Oh, okay. Because there was a period like 3 or 4 years ago where you had like 35 of them.
We grabbed all of them. We grabbed all of them.
It's just like the Reds have said, we're just going to take all the shortstops. All of them.
So Fields has 1 more year on his contract. 1 more year on his entry-level contract. Okay? If you argue that Fields and Williams are the same guy, which I've seen, you can laugh, but I've absolutely seen it argued on Bears pages that they're the same guy. You might as well go with Williams, because Williams probably has a higher ceiling. And guess what? You get to start all over again with another entry-level contract. So save the team a bunch of money. But overall, I tend to agree. I don't think the Bears got nearly enough for this guy that they probably could have. And look, if that means he's not a starter, fine. Not my issue. Football's a business. I don't know why we're trying to cater to these players, and we got to do right by Justin. Why? What has Justin done for us? Got us 7 wins this year?
Got you the number 1 pick, didn't he?
No, Lovie Smith got us the number 1 pick.
Lovie Smith? Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, there was that whole thing. Yeah. That's right. Forgot about that. As Paul says, Bears effed up. What's new?
Yeah. You know what? It's real fun to hate on Chicago. Yay. Sometimes we'd like to actually have a serious conversation here about this stuff, but no, it's much more fun to troll than to actually sit and debate this. But I think part of the reason that it goes back to, I think the only reason we give a crap about this trade is because Justin Fields is a good dude. He's well liked in the football community. Multiple players have gone up and said, "Hey, yeah, we like him." But at the end of the day, I don't really care.
You're not. You being a nice guy means Andy Dalton was a nice guy.
Right.
Andy Dalton's a great guy. Great human being.
Yes.
But listen, I don't know. Joe Burrow is listen, Joe Burrow is very much an introvert. Like, I don't know if he's an introvert, but he's very much a guy that he doesn't want to be in the public, except he goes to, the UFC events. But other than that, you don't see him around town. He does the things that he has to do. Like, does that make him an a-hole? Maybe. But you know what? I don't care if he's the biggest a-hole on the planet. I don't want anyone else as my quarterback.
Right. And at that point, you almost hold him for draft day. You almost hold him for injuries. You say, okay, you wait for that team, because you know darn well, week 1, week 2, a quarterback's going to have an Anthony Richardson situation. They're going to freaking blow out their knee, and they're going to be done. Guess what? That trade value skyrockets. So
it'll be interesting to see what happens.
We're
just about a month until the draft begins, and not only that, Leroy, but you know what that also means, right?
Baseball started.
We're a month for our 1 year
playoffs.
Our 1 year anniversary. Because we started. Our first show was the draft of last year. It's wild that it's flown by.
The whole year, man.
And
cool.
Done it. March Madness has begun. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about Justin Fields before?
No, I think I don't think we're going to really have a good answer for this until the end of this year. I think at the end of this year, of this football year,
it all depends on how good Caleb Williams is.
Right. I think at the end of this year,
you won't
sit back.
And really, I don't think you're going to know the answer to that for 3 years. Like, we almost need to set a reminder that in 2027, I'll be 30. God, I'll be old. My goodness. But we'll be able to have that discussion as far as, like, is Caleb Williams, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, or so on, or is he Justin Fields? No, it's a Western Kentucky hat, Paul. They stole the Nationals logo for a couple of years and just there's a red towel on there.
Threw a towel on. Look, I'm backwards. They threw a towel on there. Mm-hmm. But yes, it is carbon copy.
But as one of my friends always brought up, it was my Walgreens hat. I was like, haha, yeah, you're funny. March Madness, though, Leroy, you ready to go through? We're just going to do the first round here, and then we'll have our final 4 picks at the end. So I would recommend to you all at home, fill out your bracket and
play along
and pick the opposite of what Leroy and I have, because right now
we should have done a bracket on ESPN or something.
I mean, theoretically, we still could. It would just be like a couple of people, because I have one on ESPN. But I have done 3. Like, I made a pack that I'm going to do $1.
You were being jerkish tonight, Paul.
The Talus of the Fans Tears. I thought you were talking about me. I was like, I didn't do anything. My goodness. I would have joined.
Paul.
Well, maybe we can still figure something out. If not, we'll definitely do it next year or something like that. But, okay. We're going to go through. We're going to make the first round.
Yeah.
And then we'll have our final 4 picks, because we can't do second.
No, it doesn't work out.
Elite 8, because it'll get really messed up, because there's no chance that Leroy and I have picked the same thing for every single one. Yeah. So we'll just start in the East region. When the UConn.
This is a stacked.
UConn Huskies take on the Stetson. What's their nickname? That should be the game here today on how many of these nicknames you can get.
Stetson Cowboys.
Hatters. Remember, this is one of your logos last week.
Yeah.
So UConn Huskies against the Stetson Hatters. Leroy, who you got? The defending champs.
Yeah, UConn takes it, but I bet it's closer than what we think it'll be.
UConn by 50. I think UConn's really.
I love how excited these teams get, though, when they show them on camera and they all get their name announced on Selection Sunday. There's a good feeling that goes on with that.
Oh, Paul just sent me his bracket too. I'm gonna have to look at that and break it down later and so on. Second game, the Florida Atlantic University Fighting Owls against Northwestern. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Northwestern.
What's their team? You know what their mascot's name is?
Wilbur.
No.
What is it?
Willie.
I was close.
No, you were.
Close. You know what Kentucky's mascot's name is?
No.
Wildcat.
Wildcat. Nice. Good job, guys.
Way to be
original.
And then there's one more that's supposed to be like the brother, and I can't even remember what it's called. FAU against Northwestern, though. Sorry, Leroy.
Northwestern.
Sorry, I'll pick FAU.
Dude, FAU got overseeded, man.
I'm picking FAU just for the reason, and it wouldn't shock me. Like, this is one of these. That's what I love about the 8-9 games, because it's impossible to predict. You never really know. Historically, the 9 seed has won 52% of these games. So traditionally, that is one that wins more. But I'm taking FAU just because they've been in these big games before, and that does help when it comes with it. So Paul took Florida Atlantic.
I will say, first time in school history that Northwestern's gone back-to-back, making the NCAA tournament. We only need 45 more years to catch up with UK and have UK miss all 45 of those. We'll be right there with you guys.
And it'd have to be a lot longer than that, because I think this is Kentucky's 70th tournament or something like that.
I was going to say, out of the last 40 years, how many do you think you guys have missed?
2.
2.
Not counting COVID. 2.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Three. I lied. 3. It was
That's still insane.
09, 2013, and 2021 were the 3 that they missed. Because prior to 09, they had missed
the NIT.
What's that?
You guys turned down NIT?
They did not get invited in 2021. That was a really bad year for Kentucky, but they did play in it in the other years. Listen, I did play for them. Listen, I was
hey, Sarah.
Backup water boy. Now, see, if Leroy coached him, then they wouldn't have even gotten the invite to the NIT, because we would have been in the not invited tournament. How far do you have Northwestern going?
Losing UConn. Yeah.
San Diego State against UAB. This is a tough one. Final 14 from last year.
I feel like SDSU screws me every single year, but I'll pick them to win against UAB.
I do too. I have them winning that game, but it's one that I was strongly considering UAB with Andy Kennedy as the head coach. The next one, Auburn takes on Yale.
Auburn's really, really good this year. I'll give it to Auburn.
Well, see, Yale got lucky that they even made it. They were down 4 with 15 seconds left in their conference championship game against Brown. Brown had a kid miss 3 of 4 free throws down the stretch.
Oh, yes. I think I saw the highlights for that.
And Auburn ended up winning because of it. Sarah, that's honestly
Sarah's
just as good as anyone else. Yeah,
Sarah's
she's probably going to win.
Sarah's easily going to win her bracket. Man.
I'm taking Auburn, but I like Yale. That's a pretty good team. They've been there. They played these games before. BYU takes on Duquesne in a 6-11 matchup. The Dukes are in the tournament for the first time in 40-plus years.
Yep, and I'm going to give Duquesne the upset.
BYU, their head coach played at Kentucky, Mark Pope. Got to go with my Kentucky brethren and go Cougars. Boy. And plus, I can't pick against the Cougs. It feels like bad weird. Taste in my mouth. Yeah, can't pick against the Cougs. Illinois takes on Morehead State.
How happy were you that you guys didn't face them?
I thought it was going to happen.
I bet you were pretty thrilled about that.
But I also, Morehead State was a team that I was going to be one that I was going to pick in its 14-3 matchup, as long as he didn't play Kentucky or Illinois. So I'm taking Illinois because I think Terrence Shannon, who is their guard, reminds me a little bit of the Kemba Walker. Not as far as the type of player, but more of just a guy that can put a team on his back and just carry somebody as far as they potentially can be carried. So I'm taking Illinois to win that game.
Well, there's no reason Terrence Shannon should be on that team, but I will advance Illinois. Much to my chagrin, I hope they lose, but there's no way that they lose that one.
I've gone chalk so far until now because I have Drake defeating Washington State.
I can't pick against Avery Cooper's Cougs Avery Cooper, a longtime Washington former coworker, big Washington State fan. I got the Cougs winning.
Avery's not watching right now, so I don't care, Avery. Drake's going to win. I like Drake. I watched them play Indiana State. I'm a little disappointed that they knocked out Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
Because Indiana State should have been in over that god-awful Virginia team last night. My God, that was hard to watch.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm taking Drake. Iowa State against South Dakota State.
That's the Jackrabbits, right?
You are right. Look at you. Iowa State, I'm taking them 2-15. I'm going to pick Iowa State to win that game.
Yep, ISU's probably should have been a 1 seed, to be honest with you, but based off of their record and quad wins, but I'll give them the win over SDSU.
Do you have any big upsets in this region, or do you want to give your Final Four pick? I have Drake going to the Sweet 16 and taking down Iowa State. I'm not an Iowa State believer at all.
No, I don't have anything crazy in this one. I think UConn has a chance to be upset by Auburn, but I think it's going to be UConn versus Iowa State with Iowa State beating UConn.
Wow, I have UConn defeating Illinois in the Elite Eight. I don't even have Iowa State. And see, that's what I love about March Madness. Is like I don't even have Iowa State making it to the Sweet 16, and you have them in the Final Four.
Yeah.
And I love just how, which means they're probably going to get knocked out in the Sweet 16 of the Elite Eight. It's probably going to be in between us, something like that. So there we go. You have Iowa State, and I have UConn coming out of the East Regional. Moving down to the West, we'll go that way. The Fighting Tar Heels of North Carolina take on Wagner. Leroy, what is Wagner's mascot?
Not if you had $100 in front of me.
I think the Seahawks. I'm pretty sure that's right. But does Wagner have a shot?
No. I won a North Carolina jersey out of a vending machine. And I found it in my closet when I was looking for my WKU jersey. I found it in my closet. And I was like, oh, I forgot I even had this. Look at that.
If you would have worn a North Carolina jersey today, we'd have had a problem.
That's why I didn't wear it. You're welcome.
Yes, that would have been. I mean, I'll just grab
my Duke jersey and call it a day.
No, and see if you do that, then I'm buying an Illinois jersey, or something like that. Mississippi State against Michigan State. This to me might be the toughest first round game to predict.
MSU wins.
Back to that though. Like Paul brings up, how do you win a jersey out of a vending machine?
So it had a bunch of different like jerseys that were all inside of this I don't know. Was
it a claw machine?
Yeah.
Oh, it was a claw machine.
Down and grab it, and it grabbed onto the sleeve. And...
Okay. When you said a vending machine, I thought it was one that you buy a Coke out of.
No. Yeah,
how'd you swing that?
no.
50 cents and you get a jersey?
I wouldn't have done that.
What a deal. Who are you picking though? Mississippi State or Michigan State?
I'm picking Mississippi State. Michigan State just hasn't looked as good as they normally do. However, it's Michigan State. Tom Izzo's one of the greatest coaches of all time. So it really wouldn't surprise me if Michigan State went on and just destroyed and got to the Sweet 16.
What you just said is the reason why I'm picking Michigan State, because every time I say, oh, this is not their year, they make it to the Final Four, or they, do something wild, because that's just how Izzo is.
They literally have no stars. They have no stars on that team. There's nobody that sits there and you read their stats. There's nobody on that team that makes you go, oh my gosh. But Izzo gets that team to play every year like nobody's business. I can't explain it. It's fantastic.
I'm taking Michigan State in that game. St. Mary's takes on Grand Canyon. Can you name either one of those mascots?
Oh, I just saw. So one of my friends, Adam Tenenbaum, is a huge GCU fan, and I can't remember. I know it
had their logo. It was a Leroy's logo probably about 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, no.
They're the Lopes.
Yeah, that's right.
St. Mary's, they are the Gales. Gales. You got the Lopes of the Gales.
Yep. I'm going to go with St. Mary's, but I think this one will be really close. GCU is pretty good.
I'm taking Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Bryce Drew, he's got the
Yeah,
March Madness head
TCU is
coach
pretty
at
good.
Grand Canyon. Their fan base is nuts to Grand Canyon, so I'm going to pick Grand Canyon to upset St. Mary's. Sorry, Paul. Alabama takes on Charleston. I'm going to take Alabama, but this is another one that could be close.
I had taken Charleston.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was a good shot for an upset right there.
So congratulations to Alabama and congratulations to St. Mary's in the last game, because we're not picking any of these upsets correctly. There's no chance. There's no shot. Clemson takes on New Mexico. You got the Tigers of Clemson against the what of New Mexico?
Stop doing that. I don't know any of these.
Lobos. Come on. Lobos. I'm going to take New Mexico in an upset there. They're going to take down Clemson in that game. Head coach of New Mexico is Richard Pitino, Rick's son.
Okay.
He was the former head coach at Minnesota, if you remember. And I'm going to take him to upset Clemson. Clemson's just one of those teams that every year they're in the tournament, and I'm like, why? Why are you in there? So I'm taking New Mexico.
Yep. I got Clemson. So good job.
We're doing great, aren't we? Baylor against Colgate. 3 versus 14 matchup. I'm taking Baylor.
Baylor wins. I'm not picking a toothbrush or a toothpaste to win.
So, funny story on that, and you may know this, and I may have talked about this before in this podcast. Do you know that Colgate toothpaste can't be sold in Spanish-speaking countries, or doesn't sell well?
Why? What does it
translate? Hang yourself.
Oh no!
So Colgate means, so if you buy some Colgate, you're buying yourself some hang yourself. So there's your fun fact of the day. Dayton takes on Nevada in a 7-10 matchup. I'm taking the Wolfpack.
Yeah, Wolfpack beat the Flyers easily on that one.
Look at you, Flyers. Good job. Arizona takes on Long Beach State.
Useless.
Arizona takes on Long Beach State. And Leroy, have you been following the Long Beach State story?
A little bit.
So
I will say a 2 seed has been upset every tournament for the last 4 years.
So if you have not heard this story, last Monday, heading into the conference tournament, Long Beach State told their head coach, hey, this is it for you. And then he proceeds to win the conference tournament and is still coaching, even though he is going to be fired at the end of the year. His press conference today, he said, I don't even know why I'm doing this. What are they going to do? Fire me? It was pretty much like his line, which I was like, I like you. And then he made a Seinfeld reference, said, I feel like that time where George got a new job and then got fired. So
yeah,
I'm taking Arizona, though.
Just showed up the next day. And
yeah. So I'm taking Arizona, though.
Yeah, Arizona's got it.
I go very chalk in this, and I'm taking North Carolina to make the Final Four out of this side. But this is the one region where I don't feel good of a team making it out of it.
No, I tell you what, I tossed and turned on this one because these are all like pretty even teams. But I've got Arizona beating St. Mary's.
Interesting. So you got the West Coast truly being the West Coast, but I'm going to take North Carolina to beat Arizona in the Elite Eight. We head up to the upper right-hand portion of your bracket for the South Regional as Houston takes on the Longwood. There's no shot in France. You're getting this, Leroy. Longwood Lancers.
Thank you for sparing me the embarrassment.
I could have given you the next 30 years, and you would have never come up with Lancers, would you? No shot.
Not a chance.
So you got the Cougs of the Lancers. And I'm picking the Cougs. Houston
easily.
Nebraska. One of their best seasons in a long time.
That Chinese kid can play, man.
Takes on
good.
Texas A&M.
Man.
Texas A&M is who they have. I'm picking A&M. That team's really, really good.
I am too. But if Nebraska starts hitting threes in the first 5-6 minutes of that game, Nebraska's gonna win that one. But yeah, I got A&M.
Derek's pulling his punch. We're coming up to Kansas here in a minute, and I might be for you and with you there, Derek. So who did you pick? Nebraska?
I picked A&M.
You did,
but if I'm telling you, if Nebraska starts hitting their threes, that's going to be it.
Wisconsin takes on the Dukes of James Madison. I can't, as a Kentucky fan, I can't pick Wisconsin. Let's go Dukes. Go James. James Madison, one of 3 teams in the tournament that has 30 wins as well. I like you, Vicky. So you're picking James Madison as well?
If you think I'm going to pick Wisconsin, pompous jerk.
Duke takes on the Fighting Caleb Sweeneys of Vermont.
Go Duke. I know that kills you. I know that kills you.
Caleb, though.
I know. Listen, Vermont makes the tournament every year, and every year they get to like the first round, and
Duke wins. That hurts, but I think Duke wins. Texas Tech takes on NC State. NC State won like 5 games in 5 days. I saw a stat that they won more games last week because it was played at the Wizards Arena,
right?
Than the Wizards had won all season at home, which was a great stat. They won 5 games in 5 days to make the tournament. Who you got, Texas Tech or NC State?
I think their winning ways continue. I'm going with State.
I am too. I'm picking NC State. Kentucky Wildcats as the 3 seed take on the Oakland Golden Grizzlies, the 14 seed.
Does Cal get fired if you lose this game?
No. Because he can't get fired because
has there been any talk about hot seat at all?
His buyout is
insane.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. Until he wants to leave, he's not going anywhere.
It's not going to matter. Kentucky's going to win, but
I'm worried. Oakland has one player, Trey Townsend, who's really good. They also play a weird zone. And luckily, how do you beat a zone, Leroy? You shoot a team out of a zone.
Yeah, shoot it out.
What does Kentucky do better than almost every single team in the nation? I think they're second. Shoot well.
Yeah.
So the question to me is,
like a hybrid? Don't they do like a hybrid 1-2-2?
It's something weird like that. So because of that, if Kentucky shoots the way they should win this game easily. But if something even a little bit goes wrong, it worries me because they have the Townsend kid who can be one of those kids who just, you blink and he's got 35. And next thing you know, we're at the under 4 timeout and it's a 2-point game. And I'm hyperventilating on the couch tomorrow night. But I'm going to pick Kentucky. And you're picking Kentucky as well, right?
Yep.
Jason's also got Kentucky in the comments. Florida takes on the winner of Boise State or Colorado, which is playing right now. We can get you a score update too as we're talking. But does it matter for you, Leroy? It is 26-24 at the half, Colorado on top. So if that holds, it would be Colorado against
I think Florida beats either of those teams.
I do agree here with what Derek says. It's all about the start for Kentucky. Jason's taking Colorado or Boise State. I'm going to take Florida. But I don't know. I'm not very confident in that pick. Florida just lost their big man to a gruesome injury on Sunday, broke his leg, so I'm not too confident in that. Yeah. Next game. Marquette takes on the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers.
Steve Lutz has done a fantastic job with that team. You think about what that team was when we went into this season, and even last year, at the end of last year, and a lot of questions about what this team's identity was going to be, and Lutz has pulled every little bit of that, a little bit of that out of there. But I'm going to give WKU the win here over Marquette.
I do too. And I honestly think Marquette has a couple of injuries, game time decisions. If they don't play, I really think Western can win this game. And plus, what's March Madness without being a homer? At least a little bit. Right. So I'm going to pick Western to pick up that win. How crazy will Bowling Green be if this happens? Derek, I was trying to get somebody to go to the game, but he apparently has other plans. Tell you, prices have really dropped. Really dropped.
His wife got tickets to go see a comedian, Rodney Carrington, like back in like November.
Excuses.
And the odds that WKU is going to be in the tournament, come on now.
You know what they say about excuses, right?
Yes, I do.
The world revolves around results, not excuses. That was painted in our band room, I remember.
Oh, my goodness.
No, it was. It was. I remember our director. It was the world revolves around results, not excuses, which in all seriousness is a pretty decent thing. So that is it. Leroy, you got any upsets or runs in this?
Kentucky beats WKU in the Sweet 16.
I have the same thing there. Because Duke, I just know that that's going to happen because I need to be torn down the middle.
Yes. Duke though beats you guys and goes on. So you're welcome. Because I picked that, it's not going to happen.
Duke in the Final Four. No, that's a hot take. You never know. I'm taking Houston to beat Kentucky in the Elite Eight. Houston, I don't like the matchup for Kentucky. They're a good physical defensive team, and Kentucky struggled with that style all season long. But it also would not shock me if Kentucky loses to Oakland. Like this Kentucky team is so hard to predict. So hard to predict. And then the final. Purdue takes on Grambling State, who made a big comeback to take down Montana State. Do the Boilermakers lose to a 16 seed back-to-back years?
No, but I definitely don't have them getting I don't have them getting too far this year. If you can shut down Zach Edey, you can do a pretty good job of limiting what Purdue does. And that comes from, a Northwestern fan who's watched their team beat Purdue multiple times this year. So I don't necessarily think that Purdue is a very strong number one seed. The Big Ten as a whole doesn't generally play well in the tournament, and that's partly because of refereeing, but partly because Big Ten teams can't adjust very well. But I think they do all right against Grambling State.
Yeah, I mean, the Big Ten has not won a championship since, Michigan State in 2000 or 99 or whatever year that was?
It's been a minute.
I do agree here with what Derek says. Grambling plays a lot like what FDU did. And that should, but I think
you can shut down Zach Edey, or just say, look, Zach, we'll let you win, but you're going to get your 30.
Else. Yeah.
We're going to shut down everybody else. If you do that, you can beat Purdue. Purdue is very fallible.
Yes, I completely agree. I'm going to pick Purdue to win this game, though. Utah State and TCU in the 8-9 matchup. I'm going with the Aggies of Utah State. Danny Sprinkle, who's their head coach, has done a phenomenal job. He had 0 players on that team at the beginning of the year and fought through to make them one of the better teams in the Mountain West. I mean, 27-6. I like that team a lot. I'm going to predict them to take down TCU.
Boy, how do you do that, man? That's insane. I'll take TCU for the upset, but
Gonzaga takes on McNeese State. McNeese State, one of 3 teams in the field with 30 wins. Derek a minute ago said who might be my Cinderella. Here you go, Derek. McNeese. I'm picking them to beat Gonzaga. They got the fit of being a Cinderella, and I think the shoe might fit.
Zags always let me down, man. Every year, that's going to be the Zags year to do it. Every year they let me down. You'd think I'd learned my lesson by now, but I haven't. Go Gonzaga. I got them winning this round.
Congrats, McNeese State.
McNeese State, you got it.
You just made their year. You didn't know their logo last week, but you're picking against them again this week. They're back-to-back of Leroy hating on McNeese State. The second game in that day, Kansas takes on Samford. Ironically enough, another one of your logos from last week. And you know what? I'm picking Samford. Kansas is beat up. Samford plays such a fun style of basketball, buckyball, where they literally just shoot a bunch of threes, press the whole game, run the entire time. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm picking Samford.
They are a pesky team. They're a pesky, annoying, like a gnat that won't go away. I think Kansas does just enough to hold them off. But another one of those games where if you tell me tomorrow, or if you tell me afterwards, Stanford wins, I won't be shocked.
South Carolina takes on Oregon. Oregon, surprise winner of the Pac-12 to sneak their way into the tournament. South Carolina picked last in the SEC, and for a lot of the season was in first in the SEC. I'm picking my SEC team. I'm picking South Carolina.
Yep, I got them too.
Creighton takes on Akron. The Zips against the Blue Jays.
Well, at Miller Media in our office bracket, everybody's high on Creighton. Everybody's super high on Creighton. They love that team. They think that team's gonna. In fact, out of all of the brackets, Creighton's made to the Final Four in 6 of the 8. So they love Creighton here. I'm going to go with Creighton beating Akron, but yeah,
I agree. Creighton beating Akron. Final 2 games of the day. Texas takes on Colorado State, who played against the JV Taylorville Tornadoes last night.
What was that?
Did you like the stat that Virginia didn't score for 52 time minutes? Yes. 52 minutes.
What was that? Why did they just think that it was going to be a pushover game that they could win?
The Virginia just sucks offensively. They suck.
My goodness.
I'm picking Texas.
Oh, see, I put Colorado State.
And then the final game, Tennessee against St. Peter's.
Go St. Pete. Let's go. Yeah.
You're picking St. Peter's?
I am.
And I'm picking Tennessee. I don't think the Magic is gonna do it again.
I need one 15 seed to upset it too. That's my 15 seed to do it. Let's go.
Derek, I'm not gonna disagree with you at all. I'm not that Virginia should be banned from the tourney. It's just they're just painful to watch. Leroy, who is your Final Four team?
Did they lose last year too in like a huge upset?
Yes, they lost to Furman. 4-13 game. Furman hit the game-winning shot. Kevin Harlan had.
Yeah.
I agree, Derek. It would be Kevin Harlan.
Speaking of Kevin Harlan, if you have not heard his confetti call, you need to get on there and hear his confetti call. I'm telling you right now, from a broadcaster's standpoint,
he's going to be on the call of the Western game on Friday, which is part of why I am considering staying home instead of going, because I just want to hear Kevin Harlan call a game. Who's your Final Four team?
My Final Four team is Gonzaga taking on Creighton. So once again,
in the Elite Eight there. So who do you have making the Final Four?
I hate this side. There's no good teams in this bracket.
I'll go first, and I guess I should work for Miller Media because I'm taking Creighton.
Yeah. See, yeah.
So Creighton is in
the best shot out of all of those.
But it would not shock me if this is where you see like a McNeese State run their way into the Final Four or something like that.
Your Cinderella team is going to come out of the Midwest. Your Cinderella team is going to come out.
And you heard it there. My Cinderella is McNeese State. There's my prediction of who it is. And yours, did you have one?
I really didn't this year. Well,
I guess Western. Western's kind of your Cinderella.
Making WKU make it to the Sweet 16.
There you go. So my Final Four: UConn, North Carolina, Houston, and Creighton. Leroy, yours was Iowa State, Arizona, Duke, and Gonzaga, right?
Yep.
God, that would be awful.
No one would watch it.
So what is your championship game? Mine is Connecticut against Houston. I think that feels like it's such a cop-out, but that is the two best teams. So I'm going to take Connecticut to defeat Houston in the championship game.
Out of all of that, I have UConn defeating Duke.
You had UConn losing.
No, not UConn. Sorry, not UConn. I told you I hadn't set my brackets yet at all.
Iowa State?
Yeah, Iowa State. Iowa State winning.
Interesting. I
told you.
Hey,
I'm going untraditional this year because I've gone traditional every year and it's absolutely screwed me. So this year, I'm throwing all my brackets away this year, man.
I respect it. Those are our bracket picks. So congratulations to all of the other teams for winning their games, because let's be real, we're not going to be right. We're not going to be right when it comes to that. Speaking of being right, it's time to cue the music for Leroy's Logos, everyone's favorite segment where I've got 3 college logos for Leroy, and he's got to tell me what school it is. It's pretty easy. And then after that, he's got to tell me what the theme is between these 3 logos. Let's see here. I got a couple comments here to pull up before we're doing this. How much stock do you put in Texas A&M? I'm not sure, Derek. If they were not an 8-9 seed, I would potentially have them going pretty far, but I do know that their matchup against Houston, that's going to be a rock fight. My goodness, it's going to be a rock fight. Paul has Arizona versus Gonzaga, but Leroy, the question for you is door 1, door 2, or door 3?
Door 3, because I want to glutton for punishment. Oh, ew.
I'm even nice enough to give you the nickname because it helps you.
My goodness.
Yeah, we are going to go overtime.
No, not at all. Is this a D1 school, or are you starting to mess with me now?
It's a D1 school.
No chance. I have no idea.
You have no idea. Not even a guess?
Not even a guess.
Sorry. You still have to get one of these, though. This is Fairleigh Dickinson.
Sure.
Fairleigh Dickinson.
I'd be fairly wrong.
Well, you're real proud of that one, aren't you? Would you like door number 1 or 2? 1 or 2? 2.
Oh! Shoot. Oh, shoot.
Paul has no faith in you, Leroy, if that makes you feel any better. None. Not even a little bit as far as face. I'm sorry, Derek. I'm sorry. Quincy. That is incorrect. It hurts me a little bit. Does this help you? Derek is a Kentucky fan because this is St. Peter's.
Yeah.
The Peacocks of St. Peter's.
I'm telling you, I did this because I know that logo. I've seen it.
Because you just saw it on your bracket a second ago.
No, I don't have anything up there.
Oh, you don't have any logos? And the final logo of the day.
That's,
The final logo. I've had this theme, Leroy, planned for probably 3 or 4 months.
Is this UMBC?
Is this UMBC? Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Correct. That is UMBC, the Retrievers. The Saint Somewhere Dogs. That's not it. So, Leroy, what is the theme between UMBC, St. Peter's, and Fairleigh Dickinson?
They're all animals.
Again, technically, yes, that is true.
I win. I win.
Come on, we can get this theme.
They've all had significant upsets in the NCAA tournament.
That is correct. Did it ding?
Yeah, it dinged.
Okay, I didn't hear the ding. There you go. I'm going to hit it for you again because I didn't hear it. That is correct. Fairleigh Dickinson last year against Purdue. UMBC a couple of years ago against Virginia, and St. Peter's beat Kentucky. So there you go. There you go. There you go. So March Madness themed. Had to do it, so that's the reason why.
Yep.
So you got 2 out of 4 that week's, which brings you now hitting on the year to 399, just below.
Just below the 400, just below the Ted Williams, just below the Ted Williams line.
Would you like to ask or answer first?
I will go ahead and I will ask first.
Good, because I haven't found out my questions yet. I've got like a list of ones that I've been saving, and I haven't picked the 2 that I wanted to do. Okay, so I'm ready here. This is a segment where we have 40 seconds to answer a question that we don't know what's coming.
All right. Of these teams, who should have got into the tournament? Indiana State, Pitt, Providence, Seton Hall, St. John's, Kansas State, Oklahoma, or Ohio State? Should any or none have gotten into the tournament?
First off, happy birthday, Jason. Happy early birthday for you. March is a good time to have a birthday. There's no question with that. I would have loved to have seen Indiana State make it, just for the reason of it's fun when these small schools do it, and they would have been better than what Virginia, whatever you want to call that they put out there. I really thought if New Mexico would have not won their tournament, I was loving the potential matchup in the first 4 where you were going to have New Mexico against St. John's, Rick Pitino against his son Richard Pitino. It was going to be, it wasn't going to be on purpose though, Leroy. It was just going to be how the bracket worked. But I think Indiana State absolutely had to be one of the teams that should have been in there. I don't know if I like Larry Nerd, Derek. I'm more of a fan of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I think both work because that guy's fun.
Pitt is the first team to win 22 games and not make the tournament.
Do you honestly think that I would have picked Pitt? Like, come on, you know me better.
No, I'm just saying
first, like,
overall
Power 5 team, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting. I didn't know that. You stumped me there. Let's see here. We'll drop this one in here on you, Leroy. I give you a time machine.
Okay.
You get to use it once. But it has to be going back to a sporting event moment. What moment are you picking to use your time machine for?
Can I go anywhere?
In before you were born.
Before I was born.
Here, I'll restart your time. Yeah, before you were born.
Yeah, before I was born.
Before you were born to a sporting event moment. Where are you going?
Gosh, there's so many good moments. Probably, I would say probably Chicago, 1945. To go watch the Cubs play the Tigers in the 1945 World Series.
See, for me, it had to have been watch the Big Red Machine play. You know, to watch like the 76 World Series or something like that. But there's so many good potential options that you could pick.
Yeah.
John says Colts first Super Bowl win. I mean, there's so many great ones that you could pick for. Yeah, that's why I gave you only 40 seconds to think about
it. I might think about that all night and come up with a better answer.
Maybe this summer we can create our own like time machine moments to go back to.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
6 caffeine-free Diet Cokes, 6 Coca-Cola Classics, spring water, coffee, hot tea with honey lemon, fruit, and fruit juice. That list is what Johnny Cash asked for in his dressing room before he'd go on stage. So I ask you, before you go on stage for a rock concert, what do you want in your dressing room?
Paul has a great answer here. Great answer. Hank Aaron break the home run record. That's a great answer. Pete
Oh,
Rose 41-92
my
would have been cool.
goodness, yeah.
Pete Rose 41-92 would have
Babe
been
Ruth
really cool.
calling a shot in the
That was one that
World
I was
Series.
thinking about. Well,
yeah,
and then you could know, did he call a shot? Because I know that's like
Right.
did he actually do it?
right.
When Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, like that would be, interesting to be able to like talk to him after the game and be like, this is what you've done. Like just so much that you could do. My dressing room. Oh gosh.
What do you have in your dressing room before you go on stage?
See, I remember it was really funny. If you remember when we worked for Revolution, the campus station, that we had concerts and the bands had lists that they would request. And the rule was, since the school paid for it, they couldn't buy alcohol. So our poor GM had to shell out of his own pocket buying a ton of alcohol for one of these bands. And I don't even remember. And then it lightninged off into the distance and so on. And then Leroy did get to announce the band. Well, that's another show, and I've wasted all my time. 10 seconds left.
Vividly.
Dr. Pepper and some potato chips. I'd be really simple with it. Dr. Pepper would be the biggest thing on my list.
Bon Jovi used to say M&Ms without green M&Ms only because he wanted to make sure that they read the whole list.
Do you remember the band name?
I remember what she looked like. I remember I didn't like.
I remember the band name. I'm curious to see if they're still a thing. You think they are?
No way. No way. Tell me when you find them. Tell me whether or not.
Oh, in fact, I wouldn't have remembered what her name was. According to Wikipedia, they're still active. But they have not released an album since 2016, which is when that music festival was. La Sera.
They can suck it.
Katie Goodman. Remember her?
Yeah.
Yes, he would have garden salsa chips. God.
It would not be Frito, chili Cheeto, chili Fritos. That's that would be my thing that I'd have.
And a Bud Light Lime.
There you go.
I'm ready to get you to be controversial here, Leroy.
All right.
Was the moon landing real?
Oh my goodness. Why? Why? Yes, the moon landing was real. We sit there and we watch TV from the 1960s and we watch movies from the 1960s and all the special effects were absolutely awful, and they think that they can have the technology to fake a moon landing. Come on, get out of here.
How was the flag up? There's no wind.
They took a stick and rolled it out. It's very easy. But yes, there's no way that was fake. That those guys absolutely landed there. That's ridiculous. Might as well. Next thing you're telling me is that that birds aren't real, or that that they're. Have you ever seen a baby pigeon?
They're robots. They're robots. Ooh, Paul. He's not convinced it was real at that time.
What did the government have to gain from faking beating Russia? Beating Russia?
I mean, it was at the heart of the Cold War. And again, I think it was real. Yeah, they're government drones, though. I'm agreeing with John here. Birds aren't real. You ever seen a dead bird?
Yes. Yes, I have.
And there was wires on the inside, right? You got your drivers?
I do.
We're whipping through these last
while I'm pulling those up, let me get to our Leroy's tidbits that he's got for today.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Shohei Ohtani's translator has been charged with stealing a ton of money from Shohei. Not real sure why Shohei was trusting his translator to handle all this money, but that's a question for another day. Chris Simon, 52 years old, former NHL defenseman, killed himself. Big question among the NHL, among these big defensemen that did a lot of CTE, a lot of fighting, and really, really tragic on that one. Coach Calipari says no to NCAA tournament expansion. He was very adamant about that. NFL mulling some changes, some more rules, including the hip drop rule. Players are against it, or players are against the change. A Minnesota Timberwolves employee was fired, arrested, and charged with felony third-degree burglary for allegedly stealing thousands of internal files, including strategic NBA information from a team executive. It's the Timberwolves. Why are you stealing from the Timberwolves? Cameron Sutton, Lions quarterback, is in hiding. Apparently, he's wanted for battery in Florida. And a new rule for the NFL where the kicker would continue to kick from the 35-yard line. The other 10 players would line up at the receiving team's 40. At least 9 members of the return team would line up in the seb zone between the 35 and 30-yard line. Up to 2 returners can line up in a landing zone between the goal line and the 20-yard line. No one other than the kicker and returner can move until the ball hits the ground or a player inside the landing zone. Touchbacks will be marked at the 35-yard line. No fair catches would be allowed. What do you want, 1, 2, or 3?
This guy died too.
Oh, yeah, Koltsov, for the former player for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sorry, John. What do you want, 1, 2, or 3?
We'll go in order. Uno, dos, tres.
Good deal. I was hoping you'd say that today.
Now that's a head of hair right there. My goodness.
Isn't it glorious?
You're jealous of that head of hair, aren't you?
Unequivocally.
I mean, it's been a while since I've seen you, and you haven't. Are you have you just given up officially, or do you have a little? Can you do any?
I just shave it now.
Would you go full
yes,
old man,
but
Paul Feinbaum?
Right here. It stops right here.
Okay. See, I'm lucky that
right
I've got a full head. Okay. So yeah, you'd have the bald spot on top like a true old man.
Yeah.
Indy.
Correct. That's Colton Herta, IndyCar driver.
How about that? Can we put a perm on it? It is quite shiny without the hat, too.
On it?
You need to put a perm on your hair. This guy looks familiar. I see your little shaky moves right there, coloring out a logo, you cheater. I'm gonna say NASCAR.
Oh, because you don't ever take out logos or nicknames.
Never.
No,
NASCAR.
that is IndyCar as well. That is this guy's dad. His name is Brian.
Who is
Herta.
So what does his logo say?
IndyCar.
Oh. See, I would have probably overthought that. I'd have overthought that and been like, "Are you trying to pull a fast one on me?" kind of thing. So interesting. Okay, what's the last one?
No, it literally says Honda Racing on there. But yes, this is this guy's dad.
Oh, that guy looks familiar. NASCAR.
Good job. That is Ty Gibbs. 2 out of 3 today, my friend. Good job.
Joe Gibbs is that Joe Gibbs's grandson or something?
Huh?
Is that Joe Gibbs's grandson?
Yes. Yep.
We got a delay working now. I don't know whose end it is. I might be a little bit of both of ours. Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's good for us to jump in. So it is kin to Joe Gibbs?
Yes. Yeah, I think he's Joe Gibbs' grandson.
It's time for our picks for the NASCAR race of the week as well. Your standings right now.
Grandson.
Tyler is in first place with 115 points. Leroy, you're in second with 101. Paul is in third with 88. John has 56. I have 47. Chase has 44. From last week. Last week, it was Paul that won the week with 44 points for picking Kyle Larson.
Hey,
I finished
Paul,
in second with 26. Chase was last with 7 in there. Leroy, we did make a rule last week that said you're not allowed to pick the same driver 3 weeks in a row, correct?
Correct.
So, John, this week, you're not allowed to pick Joey Logano. because you picked him the last 2 weeks. So it's got to be somebody other than Joey Logano as they race at the Circuit of the Americas. So, John, no Logano pick. You're allowed to pick anybody else. I'll pick first, and I'll go Chase Elliott. John's going Ryan Blaney. Chase pops in and goes AJ Allmendinger.
I will go with Leroy. I'll go with Chase Elliott.
Now I don't feel as good about my pick there. Try to make a comeback here. I don't know how I feel about that. And Paul's taking Chase Elliott too. What are we doing here? So congratulations, Chase Elliott. He's now finishing in last because 3 of us have picked him now. And if you want to message Tyler and let me know if he has a pick.
Oh, yes, I will get you.
Or I don't know if we want to because he's winning right now. We might want to make him miss a week to make us all come back along the lines of that. I know, was it Denny Hamlin that won Bristol?
Yes.
And I heard it was a wild race because there were like 50 lead changes.
It was a ton. And they had huge tire issues. So NASCAR pretty much, they didn't practice nearly as much. And so because of that, they didn't bring nearly enough tires. And Chase can talk a little bit more about it. But yeah, it was a pretty big disaster between tires and other issues, man.
Chase wants somebody to take SVG. He's an F1 guy, right?
Yeah, I'm not taking Van Gisbergen. Yeah, I'm not. No. Although it wouldn't surprise me if he wins. Shane's pretty good.
Are you a hater?
Yes, a little bit. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize you had this rivalry that where Tyler can pick whoever he wants though because he's not picked somebody 2 weeks in a row, so we can't do that. Well, we ripped through those last couple of segments. Do you have any other parting thoughts as we wrap up the show here this evening?
No, just enjoy this week. The is always a special time of the year. NBA is starting to get towards wrapping up. NHL is starting to get towards wrapping up and getting to the playoffs. March Madness is going on for basketball, baseball season. What do you feel about this playing overseas, then coming back and playing a few spring training games, and then getting into the regular season?
It's a little weird.
I understand. I understand growing out the game.
I woke up this morning. It was one of those things that I had it was like, Ohtani knocks in a run. And I'm like, what? It's 7:30 in the morning or, whatever time it was. I'm like, what? And I was like, oh, well.
3 a.m. baseball.
Yeah.
Tyler takes Shane Van Gisbergen.
Oh, he's doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, he's going to do it. John asks, over under 9 weeks for Fields to take over for the Steelers. John, let me see the schedule, and then I'll make my pick. Because I think it'll be at the bye week.
I just don't think Russell Wilson's going to have They said Russell's going to be the starting quarterback, that there's no quarterback battle. I just don't see. And like somebody was saying that, the Steelers won't let Fields play more than 51% of the snaps. They might not have a choice. If Russell Wilson goes in there and stinks the joint up, they're not going to have a choice as far as starting Justin.
I hope if he stinks it up, they just keep him in there.
I know you do. I know.
Mm-hmm. Paul, he didn't set his lineup in baseball because it's not time for baseball.
I hate it. And I understand growing the game out, but playing overseas and then coming back and playing spring training games. I
just find it funny that, like, does the game need to be grown in Korea? Like, they love baseball over there.
Right. That's not the place you need to grow the game at.
Well, aren't the Cubs playing in London this year?
No, we played in London last year.
Okay.
We played St. Louis last year.
Okay. I knew that.
But I don't remember. I don't.
When you get old like me, Leroy, the years run together. And it's a challenge. Yeah, there you go. John's right. Next time, go to North Korea. I'd watch. Be more likely to watch.
Watch for those landmines.
Yeah. Saudi Arabia or something. UAE, Dubai.
Yeah. There you go.
It's been fun, Leroy. Hopefully our brackets are not busted.
I get mine 20 minutes.
I have here, let's see, Paul, he sent me this. His Final Four is Iowa State, Arizona, Houston, and Gonzaga. He has Arizona defeating Gonzaga in the Final Four, or in the championship game there. So that's Paul's pick. He's a lot of West Coast love, which I respect for a guy from Georgia.
Yeah.
But we'll see you next week, breaking down March Madness. And who knows what else might come up. Maybe the Bears trade for Andy Dalton, and he's back in Chicago because he was there for a little bit, wasn't
he? Yeah, we saw a trade for Justin Herbert in the works. The Bears were figuring out a way to get Justin Herbert on the Bears.
Justin Jefferson is going to be a Bengal, in case you didn't realize that.
So. Oh yes, every day that it doesn't happen, Bengals fans get more and more restless.
It is. There you go. John's got the perfect one. Carson Wentz to become a Bear.
I will full on become a Bengals fan. If the Bears bring in Carson Wentz to be their quarterback, I will wear orange and black next week for our freaking podcast. I'm done.
And you'll be saying who day?
That'll be all I say.
Well, who day, Leroy? We'll see you next week.
Sounds good, bud. Thanks, everyone.